comes to navigating governance and transparency in an agile environment, it is still awfully challenging for many organizations. You see, even though agile-based methodologies have become the gold standard for driving innovation, adaptability, and efficiency, many organizations still struggle when it comes to transitioning to agile based on a number of challenges, including those that relate to governing projects and providing transparency and visibility in the dynamically evolving environment. When we think about navigating governance and ensuring transparency in an agile environment, it presents a significant challenge. It's also the most common request we get when it comes to top challenges in an agile environment or one undergoing a move to more agile ways of working. You see, the thing is that agile-based methodologies prioritize adaptability and responsiveness, often resulting in dynamic project landscapes, which can be challenging to govern effectively. Challenges around governance existed pre-agile, and they're going to continue long after. However, addressing these challenges requires a strategic approach that aligns with the principles of agility while ensuring transparency and accountability. So we have to learn from our past in order to be able to do that. In traditional project management approaches, governance often revolves around enforcing rigid processes, controls, and documentation that helps us ensure compliance with organizational standards and regulations. This is what I call the what of governance, and it tends to prioritize adherence to predefined rules and procedures, sometimes at the expense of adaptability and responsiveness to change. Also, the what element is never unique enough, and that governance is just, after all, governance. It's not saying that that's a bad thing, it just warrants where it's placed and in what type of environment or circumstance. However, in an agile-based environment, the governance needs to take a bit of a different approach because agile values individuals and interactions over processes and tools. It favors flexibility, collaboration, and continuous improvement. Therefore, instead of trying to impose traditional governance practices onto agile projects, organizations should focus on integrating agile principles into their governance frameworks, and they should be doing that from the start. And that's one of the lessons we've learned over the last 8 years working with a numerous amount of clients, that we need to learn from our previous experiences as to what not to do. And then we need to start thinking about how we lead from the front. As a project manager or a PMO manager or an executive, you might find yourself grappling with the complexities of agile governance and the transparency that comes with it. The challenges that you may face are probably not unique, but the context, the maturity, and the overarching organization that you're working in are the aspects that are unique. And so your approach to addressing those governance challenges are definitely unique in that environment because it is unique compared to other organizations. So let's look at some of the key challenges and then explore some ideas or strategies to overcome them. First and foremost, starting with the dynamic nature of Agile. So one of the fundamental principles of Agile is flexibility and responsiveness to change. While this is undoubtedly a strength, it can also pose challenges when it comes to governance. Traditional governance frameworks may struggle to keep pace with the rapid iterations and evolving priorities inherent within Agile-based projects. So what can we do about that? Well, let's embrace an adaptive governance model that will prioritize collaboration, iteration, and continuous improvement. So instead of having rigid processes and controls that just don't move, focus on continuously improving your processes and empower your teams to make decisions and course correct as they go. Put the relevant guardrails in place to help them give guidance on what can and cannot change, and do that upfront and early. Implement a lightweight governance mechanism that provides that enough structure to ensure accountability and alignment, but not stifling the agility that is needed. The second one is around lack of visibility. So in an agile environment, traditional project management artifacts such as Gantt charts and detailed project plans, etc., may give way to more lightweight tools and approaches. For example, Kanban boards and burn down charts and many others. What these tools provide is valuable insights into the progress of individual teams, but they may not provide the holistic view of the entire project portfolio that you would get in a more rigid and robust governance structure. So, what can you do about it? Well, invest in agile project management tools and dashboards that provide that real-time visibility into your project status, the progress and the key metrics, but both the team and the portfolio levels. Now, there are numerous amount of tools at the moment that are enabling that, and a lot of them are leveraging automation and integration. And where they don't have that built in, you can start to integrate that from within your organization, bringing in information from multiple sources to provide stakeholders with a comprehensive view of the landscape. It'll also provide transparency and open communication to ensure that stakeholders are engaged throughout the life cycle. Now, you can do that manually using a simple wall inside your office if you don't have the technology to start with. The third one is around maturity and culture shift. So adopting agile-based methodologies requires a cultural shift within an organization, but it also requires a certain level of maturity and buy-in in terms of agile practices and principles. The resistance to change, the lack of buy-in from leadership, and ingrained habits from traditional project approaches can often hinder the successful implementation of agile governance. So what's the solution? Well, we can foster a culture of agility and experimentation by providing training, coaching, and support to all stakeholders, from executives to individual team members. And executives absolutely need to be part of that because often they are not. And as they lead by example from the front, champion those agile values such as collaboration, adaptability, and continuous improvement. You can also encourage cross-functional collaboration and knowledge sharing to accelerate the adoption of key agile practices, and not all at once. And that will help create a shared understanding of governance expectations from the outset. Number 4 is around balancing autonomy and alignment. So agile teams thrive on autonomy and empowerment, but this can sometimes lead to fragmentation and inconsistency. Balancing the need for autonomy with the requirement for alignment and standardization in some way, shape, or form can be a very delicate balancing act. Most teams will say, we are agile, we don't need governance, but you actually do. So the solution here is establishing those clear guidelines up front. Provide guidance around the key standards and principles that are necessary even for an agile team to operate within. That allows creativity and flexibility, but guardrails that help to guide the conversation. Define things such as definition of done, key governance checkpoints such as getting money up front, and also drive a greater alignment across your project. This encourages collaboration and shared ownership, and also allows those teams to leverage best practices to drive continuous improvement amongst them. So now that you have the key challenges, how do we bring it all together? When we look at implementing governance frameworks, they need to be flexible enough to accommodate the iterative nature of an agile-based project. So having clear guidelines and processes that support agile practices, not hinder them, but also making sure we don't forget about the organizational standards and objectives. Regardless of how agile we are, we still have to adhere to enterprise governance rules or regulations that exist in our industry. And so an adaptive governance framework will really help you to do that. One example of this is for helping agility thrive without compromising governance. And we've done that using the AMO Way model, which is used in organizations to identify change needed and to execute it, but with governance at the heart of everything we do. It also relies on transparency, which is another key aspect of governing in an agile environment. So agile-based methods emphasize open communication and collaboration, which can enhance transparency within teams. But leveraging tools and techniques such as regular status updates, visual management boards, transparent reporting mechanisms can all be things that provide your stakeholders with visibility into progress and decision-making processes. Additionally, fostering a culture of transparency where team members feel empowered to share challenges and successes as well as insight can further enhance not only your governance practices, but also how your teams work together and the learnings that they get from one another. Technology has a part to play, but it's not always the first step. So think about how technology can play a crucial role within your environment, but first of all, understand the foundations you need for that. The AMO way is a technology agnostic and methodology agnostic model that is adaptable to any technology that you choose to bring in, but it also equips you with the ability to understand where you are at this point in time and where you're trying to go. And as I said, it has governance at the heart of everything that is necessary for an organization to succeed. When we govern and provide transparency and visibility in an agile environment, even though it's a complex challenge, having a flexible governance framework, promoting transparency and leveraging technology effectively, not just bringing in tech for technology's sake, can actually help an organization overcome the challenges as well as harness the full potential of agility whilst ensuring alignment with organizational objectives. I always say focus on the how, not just the what. And this is absolutely imperative. The shift in mindset requires focusing on the how of governance, because remember, the what governance is, it's governance. Governance is governance regardless of where you go. The how of governance is how are decisions made, how information flows, how risks are managed, how stakeholders are engaged. It involves embracing agile values such as transparency, empowerment, and iteration to foster a governance model that will support rather than impede agile delivery. The how is what is important. Don't focus on the what, because the what is the same wherever you go. But the how is absolutely relevant to your specific situation and your environment. So, for example, instead of rigidly defining project plans and milestones up front, and agile governance might prioritize regular checkpoints and reviews where teams can demonstrate progress and discuss those challenges and then adapt their approach as needed. Similarly, instead of relying solely on formal documentation for governance, agile governance may emphasize a lightweight, just-in-time documentation that evolves alongside the project. By focusing on the how of governance in this way, organizations can create a governance model that aligns with the principles of agility, enabling teams to deliver value more effectively and efficiently. It enables you to embed agile values and practices into every aspect of your governance, whether it's external, enterprise, portfolio, project, or self-governance. From the decision-making processes to communication channels, it's a governance model that supports rather than hinders your agile delivery. Think of it this way. It's not about trying to fit a square peg of governance into the round hole of agile. It's about reshaping governance to fit the agile mold. It's embracing the principles of agility to enable more effective governance principles and practices. I always say and have said it's about putting the agile into governance, not the governance into agile. And I've been saying that since 2016, and it's something that I will absolutely stick by. By focusing on the how of governance, organizations like yours can truly put the agile into governance, creating that framework that will empower your teams to deliver value in a dynamic and rapidly changing environment. Doing so is going to foster a new way of working around governance that actually instills the right practices from the outset, helping you to evolve as you continue to improve. When I developed the AMO Way model, it resulted from the constant waste and duplication that I was seeing in organizations around governance for projects, programs, and portfolios. Since then, since 2016, I then conducted non-stop research and client experiments and found missing pieces necessary to drive the organizational change without losing sight of the necessary governance. And that is why I refer to the AMO Way having governance at its heart. It is a necessary part that helps you to keep focus on the things that are relevant for your organization. The model is designed with you in mind. It's methodology agnostic, it's academically backed, and it has been time tested to produce tangible results. From initial stages to the outcome, the model seamlessly integrates and drives the change you need for success. So these concepts and ideas are not things that are based on theory, but are rather based on practice. It's an adaptive way of doing change and governance that is flexible and its context-aware approach that draws inspiration from numerous different methods, including traditional and agile-based methodologies. The experiences that I've garnered from working in complex environments enables us to continuously, iteratively evolve the way we do things. And that is necessary for us to continue modeling good governance practices that enables us to foster sustained success. It's about governing and providing transparency and visibility in an agile environment. Even though it may present challenges, the challenges can be overcome with the right mindset, the right approach, and the supportive tools. So embrace agility as the guiding principle, prioritize transparency and collaboration, and empower your teams to take ownership of their work. By doing so, you'll not only navigate the complexities of Agile, but you'll also navigate the complexities of Agile governance more effectively. That will help you unlock the full potential of those methodologies to drive innovation and success within your organization. If you want to learn more about anything I've covered today, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn or reach out to our team at www.agilemanagementoffice.com.